looking at the mould, there's no colour left on it, which potentially means that I have no bubbles. And that's great news. Hey, welcome back to my channel. It's Wendy here from Toonpish Crafts, and I hope you're doing okay. Now recently I've had a few questions from people on how to blend mica colours. Now when you colour a mould, the first colour that hits the mould is the colour that you'll see. So if you stop one colour and start another, you'll get a stark line. But there is a way to blend in those colours from one colour to another. I'm going to show you in this video how I choose to do it. You don't have to do it this way, but it might help you blend your colours to get a nice even transfer from one colour to another on your lovely pieces. So this is the mould I will be using in today's video. It's quite a cheap mould. I believe it came from Temu, and I'll try and put the link in the description box below. I chose this mould because it has quite a lot of detail on it. It's a shiny silicone mould and it's ideal for colouring. So to start with, I'm going to use Dark Matter, which is one of Emma the Tiny Turnip's colours and are available on toonpish.com. The colour palette I'm going to use today is my normal blues and purples, although I do put some other colours in here to show some really quite contrast concepts of blending. To start with, I always do things like the eyes first on colouring a mould because they're the most important. They're usually the deepest in the mould, and deep parts need to be coloured before the high parts. So I've coloured the eye in Dark Matter, which is going to turn out blue when you put a black behind it. And now I'm going to move on to the lower parts of the feathers. This is where I start to blend. I'm pushing the small paintbrush with mica on it into the points of the feathers and pulling the brush back out. So the majority of the colour is going into the deep part of the feathers, the points. That is where the majority of this colour is concentrated on. I then pull the paintbrush back so less colour goes down the feather. So you have a concentrated colour where you first put the brush, i.e. the points of the feathers in this case. As you bring the brush back, you leave less powder. Now, as you may be aware, whatever hits the mould first on the colouring technique with mica is the colour that you'll see. However, if the colour isn't that dense, if there isn't much mica on the mould, whatever colour you put behind it will change the colour of the first colour that has hit the mould. Now in that way you can blend colours. I'm not going to use any tape with this, no clearing up, no baby wipes, no cotton buds, just mica. And this is how I would dry brush a mould and blend in the colours. Concentrate on the area that you want to colour with a large amount of powder, and then draw back the lesser amount of colour onto the bits that you need or want to blend into the next colour. I'm trying really hard to explain it here. I hope what you can see me doing is going to explain it more. It's also worth noting that I'm not putting a great deal of powder on this brush. It is a small brush, but brushes pick up quite a lot of powder, which is why I'm dabbing the brush into a small amount of powder in the lid and not into the powder itself, because I want a very small amount of powder. I want that mica to go where I want it to go and not where it could potentially fly everywhere and go. It's also worth noting that if you're doing deep parts of the mould, you're going to need to put that mica up the side of those parts and not just in the bottom, because the sides are actually part of what you'll see when you turn the mould out. So don't forget the sides. Make sure you've got the right colour in those sides before you go splattering the mould with another colour. With these larger feathers, I want more of this copper gold colour. So I am going up the spines of the feathers. I've also gone around the outside edges as well. Where you want your colours is totally up to you. So my first colour is complete. I am happy with the placement of that copper gold. Now before I go on to any other colour, I want to do this deep beak. This is Inferno, and Inferno is an amazing colour. It is really shiny. It has a lot of pigment in a very small amount on your brush. It is excessively bright, shiny and vibrant. Really rich, dense colour. And because of that, I'm being quite careful with it just to put it where I want it to go. On this occasion, I do blow off the excess powder because I do not want that to go anywhere other than where I want it to go in the mould. However, a little light splash is not going to hurt too much. When I've coloured the majority of it, this is where I get a large fluffy brush. This is a dry, clean, fluffy brush. It's a makeup brush and they work wonders with this technique. I'm going to be going over the entire mould and spreading out the mica. Now the mica that's already touching the silicone will stay there, but there is going to be loose powder everywhere, and that is what I'm aiming for with this large fluffy brush. It is clean. I've cleaned it with isopropyl alcohol. It is clean, even though it may look purple, it's clean. I don't want any other colours in there that I haven't intentionally put in there. Once I've gone over the entire mould, you can see that there is a very slight copper gold tint on most of the mould. But it's so thin that when you put another colour on top, it is going to blend in with that colour. This is indigo green. It's one of the holographic chameleon pigments from Emma, and it's in the Toonpish set. So with a larger brush, I'm going right the way over top of the copper gold to completely cover the underneath colour. Now, the darker parts of the copper gold are going to stay copper gold because they have enough powder on them to shield themselves from the purple. But the lighter patches will take a different colour. You will see the darker colour come through, and that is where the blending happens. So again, when I've done that colour, I'm using the big fluffy clean brush to just blend that colour into the next section where I'm going to use the next colour. So I'm blending into the space, if you see what I mean. So the next colour, I'm going to go back to the dark matter. That's the same colour I used on the eye, and it does look quite yellowy on a white background, but it will change to a really bright blue with black behind it. And I think that will go really, really nice with the indigo green fleck Chameleon Holographic. So I'm being quite liberal here with the dark matter. I'm not going to go up to the top of this head, and again I'm using the fluffy brush to blend all that in, and I do take it up quite near to the top of his head, but I want to put a green on this bird. Now I don't really like green, and I don't use nature at all, hardly ever actually, but I'm going to add green into this bird's head because I do think a lot of parrots have that gorgeous green colour. Now there is quite a lot of mica on this head already, and you're not going to see a massive amount of green. It will blend in very subtly when I demold this, but at the moment it does look really quite stark and absolutely beautiful. Again, I go over with a fluffy brush to blend all those colours in together, and I'm really quite excited to see how this comes out. So now I need to make up my resin, and today I'm using Let's Resin's 2-part epoxy resin. I've mixed up around 250 ml. I've used the mixer to mix it so I could walk away, and once it's all mixed, then I'm adding black pigment dye. This is out of Let's Resin's coloured pigment dye set. They're called pigment pastes. I would say they're liquids because they blend so nicely and so easily. I do like this black. I much prefer it to their standalone pigment paste. I love this because it blends so quickly, and it's a beautiful jet black, which is what I'm going for. Once I've got the resin all mixed up, I need to think about the mould. Now, I don't want to go scratching around in this mould with a micro brush that could potentially ruin my colours. So on this occasion, what I've decided to do is pour a little bit of resin onto the mould and manipulate the mould around to try and eliminate any potential stuck air that is in those little points of the feathers. They are bubble magnets, places like that on moulds, and I have been caught out before where I thought I've got it all covered and there's this bubble that's really annoying me in the point of a feather. So on this occasion I just decided to try my hardest to negate that and just move the resin mould around. Once I was happy-ish that I'd got into all the little details, then I squirted the mould with isopropyl alcohol and filled it up completely with the black. Again, squirted the top with isopropyl alcohol, and then I left it to cure. So the following day, it's time to see what the colours have turned out like on this beautiful parrot mould, and I'm really excited to see this. Looking at the mould, there's no colour left on it, which potentially means that I have no bubbles, and that's great news. Turning it over, I am absolutely 100% happy with the blending of the colours on this bird. The green is very faint, but it is there in places, which is fine. I'm not a green person, as I said, and I really am happy with how those colours have blended, with no cleaning, with no tape, with no baby wipes, and with no cotton buds. And the blending has worked beautifully. The purple and the blue are quite similar in colour at this point, but one is holographic and one is a chameleon flat colour. So you're not going to see the difference between those until you've got it in the sunlight. I do think that this mould deserves to be made in red and green as well. I think that would be an amazing combination. And I love the gold highlights on this bird. Now it did occur to me that I've got holographic chameleon colours on here, and they deserve to be seen in the sunshine. Luckily we had a little sunshine the following day, and I could take some footage of this bird in a little bit of sunshine just that's poking through the door. The colours are stunning, the blending is stunning. That inferno on the beak really makes the bird stand out beautifully, and I really love how this turned out. And I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you've got something out of this video. The holographic powder on the feathers does look different every direction you look at it, and definitely picks up the sunshine. Absolutely beautiful, and you can see the green sometimes on the head depending on which way the light is shining. The dark matter blue is stunning, and the gold looks gold, sometimes and looks green on other times. And I just think I absolutely love this bird. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video and I hope you've got something out of it. Come back and see me next week because you never know what I'm going to be up to. I never know what I'm going to be up to. Have a great week. Happy crafting and bye for now.